Right, coming up on today's offload, we're of course looking forward to a big weekend of rugby at the URC, some cracker matches, Ulster going down to Munster, and of course the Green Wave continues. Ireland women going away from home, Claremont. It's a grudge match against the French.
Yes, and we've a special guest, the brilliant Craig Doyle. Brilliant fellow, loves his rugby, but he brought his own guest with him. He brought in his dog.
He did. Big Hank, I tell you what, head on him like Rory Best. Okay, let's go and listen to these important messages. Bowe Donncha, Six Nations is back, and there's a real buzz around the girls in green.
You're not wrong, Tommy boy. Yes, momentum is building as we get behind the team this year.
It's set to be a huge few weeks. Big games, big moments, and incredible sport right across the country.
And Vodafone is right at the heart of it, backing the team and rallying the fans through the team of us.
There's matches in Galway, Belfast, and of course that historic first standalone game at the Aviva. The Green Wave is growing.
Yeah, so get behind our girls in green with Vodafone and the team of us.
Come on, Ireland! Right. Isn't this just typical? Yeah, we big games this weekend. We were in studio today. We have a super guest for the podcast today. Craig Doyle joined us a little bit earlier on, but we forgot to talk about the rugby. We talked all about rugby, but we didn't talk about the matches at the weekend. So we do need to touch on a couple of the games that are coming up. Obviously, the Ireland women's match against France over in Claremont this weekend. After 9 tries against Italy, a record win for them. They're up to third in the league, so that's going to be a cracker, particularly after that quarterfinal in the Rugby World Cup earlier on this year.
Yeah, a little bit. It's right to say bad blood, isn't it? I feel that's so. Bad blood. We were kind of hard done by, robbed a little bit. There would be niggle. That was... For us, there was niggle with Argentina because they knocked us out of World Cups. You know what I mean? So I do think this one is definitely, and it's going to be another cracking game, but geez, what a performance against Italy. And remember we said, Scott Beeman was kind of shaking the nest a little bit in his selection. Geez, what performances. Baveen, Aoife Wafer. Oh my God. She looked amazing, didn't she? Like just so lightning quick. Skinning people, loving an outside break and just burning people. And the amount of work that Aoife Wafer got through, I thought there was 2 of her out there at one point.
It was just because it's in the Dexcom as well, in Connacht, first time playing there, good crowd at it. Pressure was on. And listen, to pull out a performance like that, particularly after that England, the first half they talked about being disappointed about. So listen, huge grudge match next weekend, or this weekend coming. It's going to be a cracker over in Claremont. And this is going to be the real test, I think, of this Irish team. How close can they really get? Because they have their eyes on the top level. And Wales and Scotland are going to be really difficult. I see there's over 20,000 tickets sold for the Aviva for the Scottish match, which is great. Brilliant. It's going to be the last game of the campaign. But if they can close in on France and push them right to the wire and maybe force a win away from home, listen, really exciting. Green Wave is flying, which is brilliant.
Oh, and then saying it, England look at a different level. You see them against Scotland. That was fairly cool. The Piper again up on the top of the stadium. That is deadly. It's great to see. But imagine if England dropped the ball then against England. It's nice. It's 3 weeks
against
on the
France,
bones.
You mean?
Against France, sorry. England, France. Imagine if France pulled one out there and get way ahead of myself. But there I am just thinking of us winning the championship out of nowhere. No one really chatting to us about us all that much. But I must say, I was lifted after that Italian game. I just thought the style of play, everyone looked really sharp. They looked on it. Every kind of backline play kind of came off, and just the work rate by players was through the roof. And Robin scoring on her debut, man. Imagine there you go, take that.
Yeah, special. Hey, we're going into the High Performance Centre as well next week. We're going to go get to meet them, get to see what sort of training they're being put through in their week off. And you haven't been into the High Performance Centre, have you?
Oddly enough, you wouldn't think it. It will be
Mr. High Performance.
It will be my first time witnessing high performance. I can't wait for it. I'm giddy about it as well. But you just want to see what they're doing, because they're doing something right at the moment. I know, like, we're still buzzing after Italy, but hopefully they bring in this French game. I was looking, France, a few injuries. They've called in an 18-year-old centre that was playing for their 20s. They're down a few in the centre. So,
Wow.
yeah, and they've got calibre to be able to bring them in. But, Genie, 18 years of age coming in to a squad like that. Should be. He was doing it
Come
at
on,
16.
you girls are green. And of course, listen, the Irish, there was just a real feel good on Sunday with the Irish women against Poland as well, the Aviva.
Yeah.
So, well done. Honestly,
Well done.
really look forward
Well
to
done
that.
on the pitch, well done off the pitch. Connacht, he got it right. It looked great. It was a buzz. It was an atmosphere. The fields were ringing out. Well done. Great.
Our Ulster obviously are going down to Limerick this weekend.
Yeah.
Ulster, geez, they have about 8 injuries from that match against Leinster. They got the shit kicked out of them.
It's hard, though. It's hard, isn't it, when you're trying to fight on two fronts a little bit. And look, I suppose
big couple of weeks now,
everyone says you're not interested in that European Cup until you're in it, and then you realise, it is big, but it's a big one this weekend for them as well, because top 8 is tight now, Tommy, isn't it?
Well, listen, credit to Munster, right? Because that performance last weekend against Benetton, like,
magic.
That was as good a performance. Like, I looked through that Benetton team. That was a strong,
100%.
loaded Italian team. They wanted to go put a job, and Munster's defence was honestly. I have to say, I don't like to salute Munster too often, and there's a lot going on with them in the papers a minute. But on the pitch, I just thought that they answered a lot of questions at the weekend, and they'd be looking to do the same this week. And all of a sudden, they're right back into the top area of the league again. It shows how tight it is there at the moment.
Do you know what, Tommy? A little thing for me after watching, and we're going to chat to Craig Doyle about it in a while. Players' responsibility is when you step on the pitch, and that's what we saw from this Munster team, ownership of it. Now, it did help that we 2 weeks preparation into Benetton while everyone else is probably getting ready for Europe. And what I'd like to see that being the standard. I was delighted because I didn't think we overplayed. I'm up for running rugby, right? But there's times I feel that for Munster, we absolutely overplay, especially in the kind of middle third of the pitch. And I didn't see it. Craig Casey, smart kicking, Jack Crowley, smart kicking, keeping fellas going forward. And like you said, then bang. Well, that's coming against Ulster. Like, if you look at Munster's remaining fixtures, it's going to be physical against Ulster. It's going to be massively physical against Connacht, and then the Lions to try to make it. But it's all in their own hands in terms of all those teams. We would have called it, Tommy, they're 8-pointers. You know what I mean? Because you win 4 and you stop them. So it's...
Jeez, well, Ulster have it tough now because obviously they had Leinster last weekend. Leinster, to be fair, were ex-Sam Prendergast, played really well.
Great
Ulster
game.
came right back into it at the end, but unfortunately to not even get a losing bonus point was a real kick in the teeth for them. But Ulster still have to play the Stormers, who are second in the league, Glasgow, who are at the top of the league, and then Ulster, and then of course Exeter in Europe. So pressure is on there at the minute as well.
Did you see the Stormers are whinging about your old club? They're saying they were cheating, going down to uncontested scrums. I don't think they watched the first 8 scrums before it, where, to be fair, the Ospreys handed them their ass. It just...
Did they? Because the Stormer scrum's insane.
Yeah, it is when they put them all in off the bench, if you know what I mean. But if you watch back the scrummage and battle, like the way we would have always thought of scrums, and it was just a way I had to think about it in my head, is it's a heavyweight boxing fight. So you're going to lose a round or two, but overall you want to win the battle. And I think if you looked at every scrum, the Ospreys won out, and you can go to that. It's down to referees, rulings and stuff like that. But they were dominant in the first 4 or 5 scrums. If you want to put all your power and leave it to the impact of coming off the bench and then opening up.
Yeah.
Like the Ospreys did take the punishment to go down to 14. So find the space, lads. You know what I mean? Don't be whinging about it, Stormers. Find a way.
Listen,
I just thought.
All right. You have had enough scrum chat with Craig Doyle in the upcoming. All right. So let's just give me a rest for scrums for a few minutes, and our poor listeners have to put up with this. That's a cue. But it was actually really refreshing to hear Craig, who's a scrum half, talk about forward play. Right. Very interesting. Connacht, huge win on the road against the Stormers. They're still away from home. They're going to be playing the Lions this weekend. Another tough fixture, but Stuart Lancaster seems to be getting a beat of that Connacht team at the minute. And then Leinster on the road to Benetton as well. So to be fair, it's starting to heat up, the old league at the minute. It's getting
Yeah.
tight. There's a lot on the on the line between all those provinces at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying it.
Yeah, and look, I'm first to kick the URC when it's been poor and stuff like that. But right now, you're right. Every match is on. No one's really pulling away. We chat to Doyle in a minute about the Prem. There's a big difference at the moment. Like 1 to 8 is competing, and I think something's right with the model, really, Tommy. There's no relegation in our league, and no one's too bothered by it because everyone's busy competing to get 1 to 8. Like, I think the Ospreys are as good as out of it now, and maybe one more, but everyone else is competing within the league, so fair play.
But even Zebra away from home, like they're way bottom of the league, and they lost by a point to Edinburgh. Do you know? So they're not. There's no walkovers there, which is brilliant to see. But listen, lots of rugby to look forward to this weekend. You're going to Worcester, am I right?
I'm going over to Worcester. It's their end of year awards night, so I've been invited over along to catch up with people. I'm looking forward to it. I'm staying with a teammate friend of mine, Matt Cox, staying with his family.
Dangerous times, right? Very good.
Know. I don't think so. Maybe when we were playing, now he's kids. Everything's a little bit different. We two must be hanging around garden centres.
And you're on the spare bed, are you?
Yeah. I'm in the cot with the kids.
I'm actually heading to London as well. I'm heading to Lewis Moody has a big fundraiser for the motor neurone disease as well.
Amazing.
So that's going on this weekend.
Brilliant.
And, obviously, the amount of money that's going to be raised for that's going to be huge. You have Ed Slater as well, another person who's got a big challenge coming up as well. Motor neurone disease is just such a horrific condition. And looking forward to getting over there, catching up with Jordy Murphy, catching up with a load of the English boys. And just nice to kind of catch up.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Good on you. That's decent of you to do, and great to highlight it and do whatever we can. One of our teammates is doing a little bit extra. Johnny Murphy, the ultimate pothole, to be fair to him, absolute pain in the ass to be around, but he's taken on a marathon for motor neuron disease. So yeah, exactly. He never covered the backfield, but all of a sudden he's running 26 miles. You know what I mean? Fair play to you, Johnny. It's just amazing.
The old pendulum wasn't his thing. The old back and forward. I'm not covering that.
Certainly was. Yeah. But
good on you, Johnny. Well done. Fair play. Good cause.
If anyone would like to support him, he's got it on. He's going to fund me pages on his bio. So follow Johnny Murphy, Johnny the Pothole Murphy. I don't think that's his title. I think we should probably put his right title up. Great fella, good on him. Brilliant on social media in terms of avoiding him at all costs. What a pain in the arse. Hang around with Jordy if you're over there. Stay away from Johnny.
To be fair, I listen to him. He does the RTE pod sometimes himself, and they get right into the weeds of it.
And you know what? There's a good fella for putting on a pair of blue goggles. There you go, Johnny. You know what I mean? Remember
exactly. Leicester Tigers. Right, let's go and get our guest on, Donncha. Have a great weekend, mate.
Can we just give a massive shout out? AIL final this weekend, Clontarf versus St. Mary's. It's on Sunday at 4:00 in the Aviva. If you're around there, buzz in. Mary's going for, I don't know, is it history making? They've won the Schools Cup, and could they win it with their senior team? And Clontarf looking to go back to back. So it's
and great crowds at it as well.
Great crowds.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no, listen, AIL's buzzing.
Yeah, there's a lot of knockout rugby. If you're around your local club, get out on and see. I know UCC and Shannon are going head to head. I know Clonmel also have a big game. So there's lots of great club rugby. It's the last one. So if you are around the local clubs, bunks in.
Hopefully the sun will be shining as well. Look forward to it. Right, time to bring on Doyler. Is that what you call him?
Doyler.
Oh, Doyler. Craig Doyle, let's take it away. Oh, we've something brilliant running right across the Women's Six Nations, and you're going to want to be involved.
Yes, Tommy boy, Vodafone have given us tickets to every home game in Galway, Belfast, and a huge day in Dublin, plus a load of Irish jerseys to give away.
Vodafone, they're right at the heart of it, back in the women's game and building on the team of us. The most connected team and fan base out there.
There you go. Just check out the Offload socials and you could be heading to the game or looking so sharp in green.
It's all about showing your support, being part of something bigger. We'll keep you fully up to speed with the girls in green with thanks to Vodafone.
Come on, Ireland. Go on, the team of us.
We're delighted to have a super guest with us today. Craig Doyle, presenter, TNT, of course, the Rugby English Premiership Autumn Nations this morning, host now and again too.
Bit of that.
And you've brought a partner along with you.
I have, yeah. Look, I am excited to see you two fellas because I love seeing you. And we're good pals and it's great to see you. But it's not me panting with excitement.
That's very true.
It's my dog, Hank.
Go on, Hank.
Hank, come up and say hello to everyone. Come on up and say hi. Come on.
So what's going on? Does Hank turn up to everything
Hank
with you
is
nowadays?
beautiful.
Look.
He looks a bit like Rory Best. Has anyone ever told you that?
He's easier to understand than Rory Best.
He doesn't drool as much as Rory does.
He doesn't. He doesn't. So yeah, there's a chap in painting the kitchen today.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely Andrew. And I said I couldn't leave Hank at home. Everyone's out doing their bits and bobs.
Yeah.
And he was looking at, you know, when a dog looks at you and says, "I'm with you today."
Yeah, exactly.
I went, okay.
Brilliant.
Well, listen, we love to be in studio, love to catch up between the two of us, but great to have you along with us as well. Here, you're a busy man. You're obviously TNT, rugby, we see you pretty much most weekends, but you're doing a lot of other sports with TNT at the minute as well.
Yeah, it's been really fun this year with them because I've always dipped into other bits and bobs of sport, but I've kind of started a new journey with TNT, our Warner Brothers, since January, where I'm kind of their multi-sport guy. So Hank, the panting has to stop.
Yeah, that was me.
Don't worry.
That was me. Because there are Doylers in and Tommy.
Multi-sport.
I know the farting's you. I know the farting's you.
Come on, we were away with it.
But so I cover all the non-football stuff for them, which is brilliant. So like, say back in November, they said, we've got Live Golf coming our way. Would you like to cover it? And I'm fascinated by Live Golf because it's so different, so new. And I was a bit sneery about it until I went to it. Really is.
Yeah.
I've been to 4 events now. Game changer.
Wow.
I'm not like, I love the Masters, I love the PGA, I love all the European Tour events. But here, why can't there be another space for this thing? Because as a fan, and I've been to a lot of golf tournaments, and Tommy, I've met you at a few opens here and there. Like, largely, they're kind of dull for fans on the ground. It's hard to follow. They first tee off time's 6:30 on a Friday when it's a full tee sheet, and they'll be out there till 9:30. It's hard to kind of keep. You got a shotgun start and Live. So there's always someone on a hole somewhere. You can pitch up at maybe your favourite hole and just watch them all come through. It's all done in 5 hours, 5.5 hours. There's not music everywhere. The music I don't love all the time.
Okay.
First hole, party hole, 18th music. The rest it's kind of quiet and it's normal. When it comes to the kind of, now they've extended it to a full 4 days of golf now. So the final day, the lead groups go out last. So you still get that sense of a traditional tournament, you know. The lead 3-ball fighting for the win, fighting for the championship. And it's been great fun. And, you know, I've watched up close Bryson DeChambeau, John Ram go head to head, you know, Thomas Dietrich, these amazing golfers. And it's been phenomenal. It's been now. I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, well, this is it. Yeah.
But what's great about with TNT is they're like, you love golf, you go and do that. But then I'll go and I'll do rugby now for a while. I'll go and do the French Open over in Roland Garros, do the men's final, which I'm really excited about. That's a phenomenal sports event. If you love sport, but like. When I grew up, sport was just on all the time. Yeah. And we had a show called Grandstand. And they just, everything. You'd be 1 minute, you'd be like, you know, it'd be hockey. And then there'd be a bit of rugby. And then there'd be horse racing and cricket. So my dad was fanatic. No.
That's Grandstand.
That's EastEnders. Yeah.
What's that?
Grandstand's this. Dun, 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 dun,
Great, love it. It brings back a memory though, doesn't it?
Look, it's so. But like we grew up with watching every single sport, and finding a reason to watch a sport. You go, oh, I don't like the look of you, man. I want the other guy to win, or you'd find a little subplot. So I love that now. I just get to do lots of different things. But the rugby's at the core of it still.
It's amazing because even the Winter Olympics was on. I got obsessed with curling for a while. Do you know, like you get into it. But like golf is a traditional sport, and we're all hooked to the Masters a couple of weeks ago. And you kind of think, how can you make these traditional sports interesting? And it's the same with rugby. Like this is where we are a little bit, and there's this whole talk of the breakaway league and everything else. But TNT, to be fair, your coverage with the English Premiership, you've tried to break the mould a little bit. And I think it's important that TV in particular, and like you see it with what the English Premiership is doing with some of the crowds and stuff you've had, some of the new stadiums being in as well. From your point of view, do you think that there is a market to try and do a live, or to try not even do a live, but just bring the game of rugby into a new sphere, to bring new supporters along?
Now, Hank, the panting, honestly.
Hank
Go on,
is
we
good.
can't hear it. Don't worry, it's
Hank,
okay.
come over here and sit down now.
Yeah,
Sit
he
down.
genuinely is
He
good
loves
Doyler,
talking
I
about-
promise.
Hank, sit. Good boy. Hank, sit. Good lad. Now, honestly, I just love rugby so much, and I don't think you need to change anything about it, because the stuff that happens on the pitch for me is just so busy, so interesting, so many personal battles, you know. I mean, essentially, when you guys play together for Ireland, you're kind of almost you're playing a differerent match to Tommy.
Yeah.
You're in this fight, this arm wrestle, this struggle, this violence, you know.
Yeah.
And Tommy's just out there looking good,
Fixing
you know,
my
sprinting up
hair.
and down the field.
Yeah.
But doing a very different job. And like when you watch rugby, and I watch all that man-to-man kind of woman-to-woman combat happening in every single position, off the ball, wingers checking each other out, fullbacks tracking each other, you know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So I don't think rugby needs to change a huge amount, to be honest with you, from what we see. I'd like to see scrums speed up a little bit in line-outs, which you know, is happening. I'd like to see scrums play out a bit more. Donners, I don't know how you feel about that. I think a dominant scrum should be allowed to annihilate the opposition and take full advantage of the power push.
Yeah.
And don't just call it good. Tommy, come on, why not? Because you want to lock in your back row,
Because
and
at
then
the
you can
end of
strike
the day,
move
they'll
off
both fall and they'll both
Doyler,
collapse.
About time we had someone chanting a bit of sense on this
Honestly,
podcast.
I mean,
honestly,
come on,
no, but you
you
take
aren't
away
a
the
fuck.
advantage. You
Yes,
take
but-
away the advantage.
We'll give them a penalty. Otherwise,
Oh,
they'll both go
penalty,
down and
3
be
points,
reset
kick,
again.
90 seconds of boredom. How about dominant scrum?
Reset,
Ties in opposition
over and
back
over.
row. Your loose, your loose flanker can just kind of nip out a little bit, take an early pass off the 9, little break, line break, try.
Yeah.
You
crowd
two
go
have
crazy.
colluded on this before I've arrived.
Or
It's
a
not on.
penalty. I don't know.
No, but I'm a
okay,
purist. I'm
interesting.
with you. I think the traditional side of it does need to be looked after, but we do have to enhance it for a new audience a little bit. And I would love, if with like the experience, what you've seen go on in Live and stuff with the NFL and different sports, I just think rugby is slow to adapt. Like the captain's challenge, I would think would be not a bad idea,
Yeah.
or at least have a look at it rather than everyone bitching to the referees.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just have a look in one of the pre-seasons. Just be willing to try new things in rugby. I'm
I
a
agree.
traditionalist. I love what we have in our game, but I do believe, like, even, you know what I mean, a scrum ref. What would be wrong with a scrum ref? You know what I mean? Like, honestly, Jason Leonard coming on in a Segway, sponsored by someone. You know, it's just, there you go.
That would slow the game down, because you know the
Jeez,
fun
can
bus
you
would have to
imagine?
get from the touchline onto the pitch. It would take you out.
He'd have to put his pint down.
But he could be doing it on a video screen. He could make a call on like a scrum VAR, essentially.
Oh, I don't know.
One of the best things I saw this year, I think it was this year, was David Flatman chatting during one of your games.
Oh yes, yeah.
So he was right down the side of the pitch,
Right.
and they cut him, and they were like, "Flats, take us through this scrum." And he if you didn't know what the battle, he just explained it really well to you. And I just thought, normally you look at a scrum and you're there, that's boring. Whereas for that 90 seconds, everyone was engaged and looking for what he said.
And that's, I think, what we need to change. I think we need to work as broadcasters, all of us, we all work in sports broadcasting.
Yeah.
We need to make it more interesting for the viewer by educating them. And say like we had Sale against, we had Briss against Gloucester on Friday night.
Yeah.
And we had Fasogbon, the young Gloucester
yes.
prop, up against Genji, who's my favourite player.
Yeah.
And they've got a bit of history, a bit of niggle. So the first scrum, I was like, right, I just couldn't wait to get close to that scrum. And Flats did the same thing.
Yeah.
Fasogbon's tall, got longer back. Genji's more stock. He's going to try and get under and pop him up from the inside, put the power through right at the moment. And you got Flats going, wait, now's the push, now's the drive. Can he pop his back? Can he curl him up? And I was so engaged in it. And the viewers have really responded to that. And we should be doing that with every single part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, we should be talking about how, you know, you're trying to disguise a pendulum defence when you know it's going to be a kick chase coming and maybe more wide shots.
100%
all
agree.
that
It's
stuff,
the one that I can understand, Doyler. If you're reviewing on a Monday morning, you use that high angle to kind of manipulate
the hide
space.
behind, we call it. Yeah.
when it comes to viewing and watching, we never show it. And then you have to say what's on the screen more so to explain.
Yeah.
Whereas you're there, like, the fullback hasn't been there for the last, 2 minutes. Why aren't they booting that ball in there?
100%. And you got to remember, I'm excited by this conversation. This is great. But like, how long is this podcast? Hank, we're not going to be home for dinner. But like, rugby is a game of chess, and it's making people respect people. Sometimes if you go to a match and you hear the fans going, go wide, flash, 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 and you're like, no. I want pick and go. And I love 3 or 4 phases, and you see the scrum half a little cheeky look, and you can see you've got a 4-on-3 or a 3-on-2. And you go, they're going to go. You need your camera director to go to the wide there a little bit earlier to show the people at home what the scrum half can see. Yeah. You can go, they can strike now. The forwards, to this physical dominance, have created an overlap, have created space for the backs to exploit. And we need to tell those stories better throughout the course of a game, because then people will be more invested in stuff they think is boring, which is Donner's not being allowed to touch the ball but clear out rucks.
Yeah. And he was very good at it.
Very good at
it. But the thing is, not being harsh, but we've to stop always going for the good-looking fellas like Tommy and the rest of it. Like, I look at some of the coverage and it's 3 backs.
You get a bit of coverage on the radio.
I'm looking, but Flatman is the perfect example for me. He's a head like a melted welly, but he knows it inside out, and that's great to hear from. You know what I mean? I just look at some of the Six Nations coverage, and we've 3 of the most handsome men to ever play the game.
Who wants to see some fella with 2 big cauliflower
You know what I mean?
ears?
I'm not saying for them to be front and centre, but at least have the relevant point at the time, or cover it.
I love scrummaging. I love breakdowns.
Oh, give me a break,
I love clear-outs.
Finally, a good-looking fella that likes scrummaging.
Well, wait till I tell you. Is this true, Donners? Were you, like, when you played under Eddie O'Sullivan, there were designated ball carriers in the pack, and you weren't.
I wasn't one of them.
So you literally were not allowed to touch the ball.
I was not allowed to touch the ball.
Donncha has a story.
I have a story about that. Yeah. So we went to Australia. We were preparing for that World Cup in 2003. Oddly enough, we left that at the quarterfinal stage. It was a rare one for an Irish team. Yeah.
Quarterfinals.
Without spoiling it.
The semis are overrated anyway.
But Eddie came up with that designated ball carrier. So within the pack, there was 2 of them. And within that pack, it was Keith Wood and Paul O'Connell. So then the subs came in. And it wasn't finishers at that time. You know what I mean? You were brought in because they were badly stuck. You were shit if you weren't in the team. You know what I mean? It wasn't finishers that are going to make an impact. It's, oh God, we have to give them a game. So I fell in with all the subs came in, and then the designated ball carriers became Marcus Horn and Victor Costello. But Kevin Maggs was acting the maggot and pinned Marcus Horn down. So I went around the corner, no sign of Marcus, gave the old here we go, and went around the corner, grabbed the ball, pumped into contact, made a few metres, turned, presented perfectly, and I heard the whistle go. Nobody move! Nobody fucking move! Nobody move!
Give you this.
Yeah. Eddie used to keep his notes in a roll at the front of his thing. And honestly, Doyle, I was on the ground, right, and I was thinking, here we go now. Eddie's going to like big this up, exactly what we need. You know what I mean? Marcus is in a heap and Dunner stepped up for us. And he walked over and he just started slapping me. He was like, what are you doing? And I was out of breath. I was there. Marcus fell over and I jumped up for us, Eddie, and I carried the ball. He was there. I don't give a fuck if Marcus is in Timbuktu. You are not a designated ball carrier. I swear.
Imagine going out to play 80 minutes of rugby going, I will not touch a rugby ball
I
today.
will not touch a ball.
2003. I didn't touch a ball for 15 years since. Yeah, no.
My favourite stat, I don't know which World Cup it was. Which World Cup did Jean Klein? Was it 2019?
Yes.
When he went to, no, that was 19 in Japan,
which one?
was it?
Japan.
Ireland or South Africa?
Ireland.
Oh, right,
Ireland. Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah.
And I know his stats for one of the games were 5 carries for -1 metre.
Yeah, wow.
so like, it's not to say he wasn't a good player, but it's just like the role, you know.
Turned it into South Africa.
So we need to celebrate
that.
We need to celebrate that. It's not always about. I love Henry Pollock. By the way, haters, don't hate him. Lovely guy, great fella, probably quite aware of where things are going for him, but his enthusiasm is natural.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not performative. This guy is loving life. Brilliant. And he's in a team where they love playing rugby. Northampton Saints love playing rugby, ball in hand, and that's the beauty of the Prem.
Yeah.
The Prem, by the way, lads.
Yeah. Look at it.
We'll get to the Prem.
We'll get to that now. Gallagher, they all have
Pollock
different
is
personalities.
good. Like, in terms, we need, like, listen, he's the one person, like, and you saw the ad with Eddie Hearn talking about with being signed with Matchroom, is that he spoke to his daughter and he said have you heard this guy, Henry Pollock? She goes, oh yeah, he's all over TikTok, because he has got something about him that, like, he's English and he's proud of it and he's confident and he's arrogant. But is that not what English rugby is meant to?
Exactly.
That epitome of English rugby.
Exactly. And
Celebrate it.
Why, by the way, we're allowed to be proud of being Irish, as we all are, fiercely proud of being. But why are other countries not allowed to be proud from where they're from?
Exactly.
It's all right to be proud to be English or Scottish or Welsh.
But it's
when you're
all right.
supporting your team.
But it's all right for other countries to hate them for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other problem. Like,
We
so
had
people
this
are.
out with Ben Youngs. We were there like, why are you going away from the fact you're trying to get everyone to like you, and they're never going to.
No.
So just double down on being hated. Like,
And he should be used to that, being a Leicester Tiger player.
Totally.
Which they've lived off, utter hatred of them.
No, but your point's right. The Pollocks, and then even Joe Launchbury retiring this. Like, there's a fella that lost himself to the work. He probably wouldn't be valued an awful lot outside the circles. But I bet you, if you were in a team room with that guy, you'd love him to bits. So
Look, when Joe was playing for Wasps, he was at the core of everything good about Wasps, and then obviously we know what happened. But there's a great story. There's a guy who was playing for Worthing Rugby Club, and ended up working his way through, and the dream came through. And there's a lot of that in the Prem as well. Like, the big story at the moment is Billy Searle, who I love. Billy Searle's had 10 different clubs in Europe, and look at him now. He is playing out of his skin. I love that about the Prem. I love about, we have superstars like Pollock, but also there's a pathway for guys coming through. One of my favourite players for years, you might have played against him, Sam Dugdale at Sale.
Oh, yeah.
He was just a Manchester lad.
Yeah.
And he'd go out and spend the whole day hitting rucks, making 27, 28 tackles in the back row. But he was never going to be a superstar, but he just loved playing for Sale,
Who's in Gloucester at the moment that was selling insurance maybe 3 months
That's
ago?
right,
One of the props
That Ross
in there.
Byrne back in Leinster when he wasn't playing all the time? No, it wasn't him. No,
No, not at all.
Listen, like, when you think about the Prem, like,
Have
there's
we answered any questions here yet?
We haven't even got going.
It's only having a chat. but
No one comes here for proper knowledge.
the Prem, you're talking, like, obviously there was teams like the likes of Wasps, sad story, Worcester as well, as you were
London
part
Irish.
of too, London Irish too. But then there's the positive side on it. Like, there's the investment now with Red Bull coming into Newcastle, you have Dyson coming into Bath, Exeter as well. Like, you think of matches.
Saints get a bulky load of cash as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Then you have, like, the crowds in Principality Stadium. You have Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
So that was great
Villa
initiative
Park,
to play the big stadiums.
They're
That's
doing
smart.
something right. Record figures, record people watching it. Like, there seems to be the blueprint there that seems to be going the right direction if they can just sort out maybe the numbers in the background. And maybe this no relegation thing might bring in an American model that gets a lot more business interested in it.
I mean, the NFL is the standard setter, right?
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous for all of us in other sports to try and do that. Of
course.
The population of America, it's so ingrained in them. It's their number one sport. It's so ingrained.
But England do have a huge rugby following. Obviously they're competing against the Premier League, which is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
But Premiership Rugby, like, you see the
And it has something, Tommy, that's very special.
It's honestly...
It has rivalry, history, hatred. Bristol and Gloucester hating each other for over 115 years. Northampton and Leicester hate each other. Doesn't matter whether it's got anything to do with the playoffs. They're going to go out and try and knock the heads off each other. Some of the best fights I've seen. Manu against Ashi. The greatest fights. They all hate each other. The rivalry's phenomenal. Everyone hates Saracens. Brilliant. We want that. We really want that.
That's so true. Sorry, I was lucky to play with Worcester for 3 years, and I thought that was lip service. And then you get into it and you realise it was like the AIL on speed, if you ask me. The genuine rivalries from stuff that happened in the past. And we were a kind of new team and everyone wanted to kick you.
Compare that to Leicester and Munster, or Leinster and Munster. Not the
Similar.
same level?
No, there's a tradition when it comes to interpros and stuff like that. But I look at the kind of URC and
we're the Welsh clubs.
Well, we're only starting to build the rivalries, the likes of Munster and Glasgow, the likes of the Ospreys, but they're only kind of starting now. Whereas this goes back hundreds of years.
It would kind of almost be like Ternier against Rock in the AIL kind of stuff. That old back in the day. Yeah. But it's so exaggerated and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And they need to harness that more. they also had to react to the 3 clubs going. I was a London Irish fan. My buddy Niall Woods and Victor was over there. All the lads went over. And when I was in London, and it was a different time. We'd just meet every 2 weeks in Sunbury at 1 o'clock, go on the pop all day. The Guinness and the Irish coffee. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I'd go play for Blackheath Forts the next day. Absolutely dying. And then we'd go and meet the players afterwards, and we'd all get hammered together and go to the park in Richmond, and not the park itself, not like
the park
drinking in the
exactly.
the nightclub.
Oh,
but it was so much fun. So when they went, I was really broken-hearted for London Irish. Really great. Mick Crossan, who was running the club, and it was costing him a fortune, millions. He just couldn't keep it going. Worcester, same. Although there was some dealings that weren't great in the business side there that really affected things. Bad signings. Look at this guy in from Munster.
Exactly.
It's like, what?
He'll change it.
10
Dynamic.
10 grand a month on some beds. Who is this guy?
Doesn't even carry the ball.
0 carries, 0 meters.
Here I am with oven mitts.
And Wasps again. They tried something. It didn't work out. They went to Coventry, to the Rico. It was great when it started, but that kind of had to happen. There had to be a survival of the fittest in the Prem to let it go to the next stage. And what's happened now is they've gone, right, we're just going to tighten up what we have. We've 10 teams, and we're just going to make this tight and solid and make sure this thing absolutely floats. At the moment, Newcastle Red Bulls, they're bottom of the table. They're trying to play rugby, which I like. And actually, I enjoy watching them play. They'll have a little purple patch, 15 minutes, 20 minutes out of their half. Yeah. Big signings coming in next year. Big dough. They're going places. Stadium's
Do you think so? Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Like Red Bull aren't going to pull out because they're having a bad season?
No.
Okay.
They know what they're getting into. They have a 5-year plan.
Wow.
Newcastle will be in a Prem final in the next 5 seasons.
Right.
Like I put Donnacha's house on it.
Okay, well, that's really a hefty house.
Yeah, I really would. That's a lot of dough.
Not a great garden. He's not great at mowing the lawn.
Right, fair enough.
You need to get Pete in.
Exactly. Oh, jeez, that's another story.
Gloucester, they brought in Chris Boyd. Chris Boyd's a Yoda of rugby, a Kiwi fella. He did great things with Northampton, turned them around when they struggled, because Northampton were very much a power-dominated team. And he brought in a different style of rugby, and he kind of started this whole attacking rugby they play now under Phil Dowson and Sam Vesti, which is great to watch. He's going to do the same with Gloucester. Gloucester need to get rid of a lot of players who just aren't performing or just not good enough. And they're bringing in a lot of Welsh guys, which is really clever. Jake Morgan's coming in, Dowie Lake. Really good solid, players. Yeah. And he'll give them an identity, and they'll start coming up. So hopefully what we'll have is 10 teams really, really performing. And then next year, there's a minimum spend in the Prem. I think it's 5.2 or 5.3 million quid. You have to spend that. Right. You've got 2 clubs in the Prem at the moment who are only spending about 3.5, because they know there's no relegation, right? So they go, you know something, we won't blow it this year. You have to spend a certain amount of money next year in the Prem to stay in the Prem. And it's also capped at about 6.5, but then you can have your marquee above that. So what should happen is the playing field should level up a bit. What happens after that? They want to expand it to 12 or 14. What I'd love to see is a couple of the Welsh clubs come in. Yeah. Ooh. I think that would be phenomenal, because even going down to 3, if you ask the Welsh lads, it isn't necessarily going to work out. Tommy, you know what it's like there. They need, and look, it's really hard because Welsh rugby is so good, and the club rugby is so good. But they have to make hard decisions here to help rugby survive, because it's still a battle. Totally. And it's still not making money, by the way. I know this money's coming in from Dyson and all these people, but it's still not making money. Munster, not making money. I would like to see a British and Irish league where we've got the best 16 teams across Britain and Ireland.
Fantastic.
It would be.
But I
just
gather
imagine.
the English clubs don't want it.
I think in time, they will want it, because you can't have a 10-team league.
No.
Well, you can't have it the way and look, I'm a fan of the Prem, but it can't be like we had this weekend.
No.
With the lack of relegation, we saw blowouts, and the big one that stood out was Sale getting hockeyed by Saracens.
Yes.
But you even mentioned the Bristol match. That was all one-way traffic. Like, I think 4 of the games were by over 20 points.
I was at both those games, and the teams who were heavily beaten are all are 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th in the league, and will not be making playoffs. Now, in saying that, that is the main narrative, but they are, I mean, really badly injury hit.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
Really, like the 4 clubs, like when Newcastle are different because they're in transition, but the other 3 clubs, like I think Harlequins have 27 injuries, something like that. So it's crazy. Sale have no Curry brothers, all these key guys, no Luke Cowan-Dickey. These guys are talisman on the team. Yeah. And Gloucester, I just don't know what they're at. They have a lot of injuries. But they're also
just on it though. I understand ring fencing for the investor.
Yeah.
It secures everything.
Yeah.
But for the league, is it a good idea? Like I played with Worcester with relegation, man. It was harder than winning a European Cup. The dogfight every week. Yeah. The battle to survive. Yeah. Like, is that not a good thing? You know what I mean?
Great. It's great. Like look, a relegation battle is exciting. But how often has there been genuine relegation battles? Because most of the time I've been working on the Premiership or the Prem.
Yeah.
It's been a team going down well away before the end of the season. Okay, so there isn't always one. You got to remember also why this is happening. There's a couple of reasons, right? They want to make it a franchise model. They want to bring money in. They want to stabilise the league, and then they want to expand it. Because Red Bull's not going to come in saying, they're not going to pump millions into the game knowing they're not going to be around next season, right? You kind of it's one of those tough decisions. You can't have everything. Something has to go. I would love relegation to be in there. But also, look what's coming from behind. The Championship in England isn't strong enough. Yeah. The teams who are winning the Championship don't have grounds big enough to be able to cope with a Gallagher Prem game. You need a certain number of seats. You need all these different things. Just loads of stuff. And they don't have it. And also, who's to say they're going to be financially secure? What they don't want in PRL who run the game, they don't want clubs coming up and going down. Their priority is to make sure everyone is financially stable so we don't get another Worcester or we don't get another Wasps or London Irish. And that's tough, right? That means you have to make tough decisions and you have to make things safe. But I'm hoping it starts to expand. All the talk is about expansion, So.
And it's promising. It's promising for the game of rugby. It's promising for English rugby, probably in a bad way. You talked about the rivalries there. I have to talk to you about your viral moment with Jeff Parling, the Tigers boss. Yes. So you're TNT. You're wanting to get out on the pitch. You're wanting to mix things up again. It was a young TNT presenter. Was it his debut? Getting a chance to go.
Cheers. That's how we do it.
Weird to make your debut on your last day.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
We're going to go another direction with designated.
What happened?
Listen, first of all, isn't Jeff lucky? Because if I'd pushed back,
I was going to say
he was over.
Flat.
I was surprised. Honestly, you'd want to check how tight you are with Dricko, because I've seen Dricko jump in for everyone else. Where was he, fella?
Exactly.
I went over to Dricko, right, and he's like that. I went, you better fucking speak. Because I might look calm here. It's a war zone in my head at the moment.
Man,
well, you
just on that moment, because there's a lot going on in your head, but you're live on TV there.
So for context, obviously you'd come from a link, you'd come from the dressing rooms, was it? Walked out onto the pitch, tried to go and open it up.
It was a really big day for lots of reasons for the Prem, because all the games on the Saturday were coming from football grounds. Yeah. So we started in Villa Park, then we're going to the Principality, then we're going to Tottenham. Big mega day, and I'm opening it all up, and I do this big thing. So if you're lucky enough to be into Villa Park, it's a great stadium. I start the walk where the players come in, and you've got this corridor, and they've got silhouettes of they've won 22 major trophies over their time, And I walked down this corridor with silhouettes of all the trophies. Then I got to get to them, and I'm like trying to remember. There's 5 League Cups, 5 FA Cups, 7 League titles, European Cup. But geez, okay, remember that. Get to the home dressing room. How are you lads? And you know the relationship we have with all the kit men and all the managers. It's great, right? And Jeff and I get on great. I was speaking to Jeff. Well, I was walking this thing through, trying to get it in my head because I had to do it live. And I'm chatting to Jeff in the car. I said, Jeff, I might grab you for it. Yeah, no worries. Jeff Parling, by the way, great lad. You tour with him?
I played with him in the Lions. Yeah, lovely fella.
Lovely fella. Great guy. Super rugby player.
A serious bloke, do you know what I mean? And he's a coach, and it's a big day for him too.
Big day for him. Yeah. And I absolutely respect the sanctity of a dressing room. I'm not even sure about dressing room cameras, to be honest with you. But we have to modernise.
Okay.
I love you, Doyle.
But it's a special. You should earn your right to be in that dressing room. There's lads in there who have trained and finally getting a crack to step in that dressing room, and I think that's a special place. And I don't really want to know what goes in there. I want to just imagine how terrifying and scary and hyped up it is. dressing room.
They're all
blah.
on beanbags texting.
Well,
We
yeah,
saw
exactly.
that in the
The
line.
line.
Yeah. Did I get in the programme? Not nice programme. Home dressing room. I pop my head because it's cool, the facilities there. And then I'm walking past all the trophies. I got the European Cup. And it's the European Cup. They won that in '82. I think beat Bayern Munich goal in the last minute. Wow. And I said, but most importantly, and Ed Slater, who you both know, fabulous guy. Ed's in a real scrap of motor neuron disease at the moment. And he was there with his family. And he can kind of speak, but he's in his chair. And you know, I was emotional to see Ed because I hadn't seen him in a while, and MND can work quick, you know. And it was about him. It was about Ed. It was about Lewis Moody as well. And it was about raising funds and awareness for motor neuron disease. That's what that fixture was meant to be about. So I talk about Ed. And I showed the trophy and I said, it's about these guys. And then I remember I've got to go out and find this new reporter, Liam. Now, Liam played pro football, played for Port Vale, Stockport. Right, no, it's not Man United, but like to play at that level is a serious deal,
decent,
right? He's a decent player. And he's like, right, guys, do you know what? I know it's my first time. It's Villa Park. What I might do is, can I have a crack at a conversion?
Brilliant.
Can I have a crack?
That's the sort of English arrogance, that ballsiness we need.
Start him with Pollock.
Yeah.
The producer's the nicest guy in the world. He goes, Welsh guy, he goes, I don't see why I have no problem with
Yeah.
that.
Want
He
to
goes,
see an Englishman miss.
This new guy wants to try a conversion. I went, listen, man, if that's what you guys want to do,
Go for it.
Yeah.
you do. If you got it all sorted, that's absolutely fine. I've got this thing. So anyway, that's now. If I have a match on a Saturday, my first meetings are on a Monday.
Yeah.
And then on a Tuesday, we start talking about like tactics. So at Leicester, all I wants to do, read the game, was talk about Billy Searle, who's got this backline moving. Took over from Andre Pollard, right?
Yeah.
2-time World Cup winner. And
Tough,
this
big
kid,
boots to fill.
and he's filled them better. He's
Yeah.
got the backline actually finally moving than Pollard, right? Because he's got ticker, right? And he does all these cool things that 10s have to do in the Prem. Anyway, I've just slagged off Pollard.
No, you
That's
haven't.
a
Don't
viral
worry.
No, you
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
Don't worry,
Pollard's
it's all right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Pollard's amazing. But-
Pollard just sits in the pocket and kicks the goals, but he's bloody good at it.
Brilliant at it. Different
There
kind of
you go.
player.
Yeah.
So I come out of the pitch, I can't see a man, Liam. So where is he? And I see he's right into the pitch and I see the warm-ups. I'm like, ugh. Okay, well, it must have been cleared. He's been there for I've been talking live for 6 minutes.
The ball lined up on the tee.
Like, here's Liam. Liam, your initiation. Usually you'd sing a song on the bus or drink something weird. You're going to have a kick-off. You go, son, kicks it. Thank God he hooks this yoke, right?
Yeah, because they were under the post, were they?
Yeah, that would have been a ball in the head.
Yeah.
Now, can I tell you how often I've had a ball in the
Yeah,
head?
yeah.
'Cause the lads are firing.
I was just
Donners,
about to say it.
I was with you in Thomond and we were doing a live broadcast and they were deliberately firing
It
balls
was
at you.
Zebo.
It was
Yeah,
Zeebs.
yeah. Having the crack.
and
having
he is
the
a
crack.
big old head as well. Like, that's a target. They
I
can't
remember
miss
because
as well.
we were a minute from going live and you were busy picking up a worm. You know what I mean? It was there, Doyle, like looking to
He
you
was
for
going to
inspiration.
entwine it into his build-up.
But to be fair to you, there's no one better in those moments. Like, Craig, you have to take an awful lot of credit for how good you are at your job, man. Because
But hold on, what happened?
Well,
What happened?
he hooks the kick and then I see Jeff coming over. I'm like, we're live. He looks all right. I've spoken to him a minute ago and I see his face. I'm like, I don't know if he's happy or not.
Yeah.
And he's heading towards Liam. And I'm like, Liam has also got a mic on his a headset mic.
Brilliant.
So he can't, anything that's going to be said to him is going to be heard. I'm like,
Looks like
I need to
Brittany.
intercept. I need to intercept. Whether this is good or bad, I'm not sure. I need to intercept. So I just go to Jeff. The words that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Would you sign him, Jeff? No, he wouldn't sign him. Jeff, get that fuck off my pitch, and pushes me. And I'm like, I didn't really know he pushed me because I'm a unit, yeah?
yeah.
He's got some balls.
Brave,
Jeff.
Lucky boy, brave.
They're
Brave.
lighting
British and
your
Irish line,
hands
Jeff.
here.
You know what I mean?
You want some?
Like Heath fifths, North Kildare seconds. Brave. Gives me a shove. Went over to Dricko. Dricko's paler than usual. I mean, he's see-through at the best of times,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he is
and,
very
and
pacey.
Mo Hunt's like, I'm like, someone needs to speak here because this thing's happening. I just had to end the situation. That's my job. That's our job, Tommy, isn't it? You know, you do it every day until when there's a problem coming. People know that's the job of presenting. It's to get to ad breaks, keep sponsors happy, and make sure you don't get sued by anyone, right? That's so I try to fix it.
Very easy to say though, but in the moment there where you're trying to,
Oh man, your heart's pumping. Your heart's pumping when stuff like that happens, and you feel sick. I did go up to Jeff at halftime. I said, Jeff, I'm so sorry. We'll talk about it later. But I did not know the situation. Now the thing is, right? I go out that night because I have a game in Sale the next day, and I'm with Austin Healy. I haven't told anyone this. I'm with Austin Healy and Dricko and Ali Eakin, the commentator.
Oh, good crew.
And we're in. I don't know if you've ever been to the Bubble Club, the Bubble Rooms in Alderley Edge.
Haven't made that
It's
one.
where the footballers go,
Put it on
right?
the checklist,
Okay,
the
is that
bubble room.
right?
So we go to the Bubble Room and we're having a bite to eat, and there's all like Alderley Edge footballer chaos going on around us, and we're having a few pints, and I'm a bit jumpy, right? And the phone rings. I'm 4 pints deep. And as you know, I'm not I can't drink 4 pints.
Okay,
I'm 4 pints deep, and I'm like, phone rings. I'm like, shit, it's Jeff Parling.
Right.
So I'm like, lads, I gotta take this call. So I go outside. Jeff, how are you? And Jeff's laughing. He goes, oh man, I'm so sorry. I said, Jeff, I get it. We're good. We are good, Jeff. I said, sadly, due to modern times, it's out of our hands. Whether you and I are good, Jeff, has nothing to do with it now. I said, I've just been told it's had 3 million views already.
Yeah.
I was getting messages. It was in the New York Times.
Wow.
My wife mentioned to me she never says anything about rugby ever. But she thought you came across great, to be fair.
Well, I go back in. So Jeff and I squared off. It's absolutely fine. I said, Jeff, we'll have a laugh about it in the future. I said, we're just going to have to grind out the next week. It's going to be hell. Both of us are going to. And this is the problem. Like, you know, when you're a TV presenter, not everyone's going to love you. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Just that might be your hair or something you said or whatever. It could be anything. And unless you're Tommy Bowe, everyone loves Tommy Bowe.
Everyone loves Tommy Bowe. It's so true.
And they're just looking for a reason to get at you, you
Yeah.
know. So no matter whether I behaved correctly or incorrectly,
Of course.
I was going to get shit for it, which I did. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want this. Like, it's why I do sport. When you do sport, you get to do the fun live TV.
Yeah.
But the people on the pitch are the stars. You get to hide in the shadows a bit. So like, anyway, I go back in, phone call with Jeff, and I can't wait to talk to the lad. I got to have a
go on.
debrief. So I walk in, Dricko, Austin Healy, and Ali Eakin, they're there, and they're no mention of it. I'm like,
rats.
Jesus, boys, and they went, yeah. So what are you gonna have another pint? I'm like,
Hey, they're in the bubble room, man. This is
the
what's
bubble
more
room.
going
And
on.
I'm like, what's going on? And then Austin says to me, hey, Doyle, Steve Diamond's just come through. He's looking for you. He's going to give him a shout. So I'm like, Dimes is here. All right. And like, why are they not asking about the phone call I've just had with Jeff? So Dimes is here. So I'll ring him. There, yeah, ring him. He said, ring him. So I go, Dimes, it's Doyle. He goes, all right, I'm doing a range of accents.
you're flying it.
All right, Doyle. I said, you're in the bubble rooms. You're going to join us for a drink? He goes, I'm watching a Disney film with my 9-year-old daughter at home.
Austin.
I'm nowhere near it, and the boys are howling.
Brilliant.
And when I was on the call to Jeff, they're like, whatever happens when he comes in,
Do not mention
do
it.
not mention it.
Yeah.
Don't let him talk about it.
Love it.
I love that childish
Love it.
behaviour
So
still
childish.
goes on.
But even with Ellis Genge on Friday, he's talking about his scrap with Sogbon in the tunnel.
Going
at
into the
half-time,
tunnel, I saw it, yeah.
And he was really on it, and it's something we have to face up to when we cover rugby. It's a physical game, and we can't hide from that. And actually, it's part of the fun of it, isn't it?
True.
We like the collisions, and we don't want him to get injured, but we like the
And the
violence.
crowd love it.
The crowd love it.
But obviously, safety is important,
Safety,
but at the same
100%.
time, there's only so safe we can
Yeah,
get.
but a good tackles or good clear out or really aggressive rucking or scrummaging is good fun to
And
watch.
did you see Werner Koch, the red card with
Oh,
Deegan
man,
against
yeah,
Dublin there, against Leinster? And Deegan, he's running straight, he's looking up at the ball, like he doesn't even see Werner Koch. Like, but that's a rugby collision, unfortunately. And like, listen, it's a red card, definitely. And I think the referee probably Brace could have given a straight red card for it. But at the same time, I don't know what else could be. So
I would have gone straight red on that.
we know it's a contact sport, and these things are going to happen.
And that's where
unfortunately,
Genji was so good, because I asked post match. It's going to annoy people that I'm calling Ennis Genji.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, I've known Genji since he was a kid. I've known these guys since they're a kid. Right, well then I'm going to call you Tommy Bowe, and I'm going to call you Tommy O'Callaghan. If it's one rule for all. So Genji, I'm interviewing him post match. I'm going, what happened with Fasadba? And he goes, well, the thing is, you know, he waved me off the pitch last year. I've kept that in my brain.
Oh, nice.
And this is what I love about the Prem. That stayed with me. And I got him at the scrum today, and then he went off. The crowd waved for Sogbon off, you know. He goes, and I saw him trying to start something in the tunnel, so I had to go to him. Because, but let's be honest, that's why people like this sport. They like the physicality. They like a little bit of violence. And the man-to-man stuff, they love it, Craig. And I went, I don't know about that, Ellis. I said, I had a similar situation a couple of weeks ago. It didn't work out terribly well for either of us, you know. But look, so that was it. That was the Jeff Parling story. Storm in a teacup, but a storm all the same.
Yeah.
And to be honest, not one I particularly enjoyed. I'd rather just.
It wasn't
you know,
that big. It was blown up, but it was probably blown out of proportion, wasn't it? But listen.
But he's a good lad, Jeff. I just have to say, like, he got hammered, and I thought this is really unfair. But going
for
back to
not wanting to sign him.
I mean, he hooks one kick. Come on.
Yeah.
But, you know, I again, we spoke about this at the start. Like, that area, that warm-up area, it belongs to the players and the coach.
It does, yeah.
And we're very lucky that we're allowed to step into it pre-game, and we probably need to respect it. And in that case, there was a little breakdown in communication, and that happened. But I'm okay with the director of rugby telling me to get off the pitch. By the way, I've been told to get off pitches by so many directors of rugby.
100%. Come anywhere near the Aviva Stadium, you don't even get laid a toe on the pitch.
No.
Well, the worst one I've ever found, because you're right, the warm-up is set out, so you know exactly what areas of the pitch you need. But I always found playing in Cardiff, in the Millennium or the Principality, with the goat, man. Remember the goat in the middle of the thing? They'd set him over your side, and you were there like, we can't run any plays because of the fucking goat.
It's one thing giving
a shunt or a boot up the ass. You kick a goal, man, and you don't know what could happen.
But here's the irony of it is, I got into trouble for that. At Tottenham later on, when it was at Sarri's, we're playing Quinn. Dizzy Rascal was in the middle of the warm-up singing live. And in autumn, I was doing one of the Wales games in autumn. Live in the Principality, and we're doing the post-match thing, and we went to one of the interviews, and the guy comes by in a beautiful John Deere tractor. Beautiful thing. I'm like, God, that's
what?
He's got a tractor. He's doing the pitch, after the match.
Yeah.
Gorgeous tractor. I was like, God, that's beautiful. I'm looking at it while we're on an interview with one of the coaches. It's a lovely sound though. It's a lovely.
Okay, right.
What's your favourite tractor?
Oh, I'm more of a Fendt. At the moment, I've seen those big green yoke, big fancy.
That's a bit fancy. Ideally, I'd go for an old 60s, Massey Ferguson 135.
Okay, right.
It's a beautiful tractor. Anyway, more of that later.
For everyone. John Hayes. Finally, we get to the good bit.
Exactly. Clarkson's farm, eat your heart out.
I'm standing on the pitch. The guy's coming by on his tractor. We're on an interview. I still got to do the final chat with Dan Bigger and say goodbye. Biggs, can I go Biggs? Biggs?
Yeah.
And the guy's on his tractor. I went, oi. Well, give us a go on your tractor. He said, fine. So I do that end of the show on the pitch in the Principality, driving a tractor with the microphone. That's all from us here. And I'm thinking, it's so mad.
It's brilliant.
So in some places, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And at sometimes you can do what you want. And then sometimes you can't. So what I've learned from that situation is I read things a little bit better now, rather than being really bombastic all the time.
It's live television.
Yeah.
And this is and I have to say, and Donncha was in the middle of it, you are excellent at it.
Yeah,
I got to work
you
with you in the autumn and just watching your build up and your back and your foot. People don't see because you're out of camera, out of shot a lot of the time, but your energy that you bring to it. And listen, I'm on the telly in the mornings. You did a lot of radio, do a lot of telly as well. To be fair, man, you're excellent at what you do.
No, it's true, Doyle. You're unbelievable at your craft.
It's good for us to see that. But for people, we hammered the Netflix. We thought that Netflix was such an opportunity to see what it's done to sports like Formula One, to golf, even given the insight. The Tour de France I really enjoyed. The rugby just didn't quite give them the opportunity, because you think back to Living with the Lions back in '97. And people love the physicality. They love to see the syringe. They love to see behind the scenes.
Johnson being stitched up.
Totally. Yeah. And we missed a trick. Do you think we missed a trick with that? Or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny. Draco and I have a little production company, and we were working with Sale quite a lot. During COVID, near the end of COVID, I went over. I learned how to use a camera, went over and filmed a lot with them behind the scenes to do something. And we pitched this behind the scenes with Sale, and that would have been raw. I had all the Marlin Yard stuff and those phone calls, everything on camera.
And they do wild stuff in Sale, don't they?
Wild.
Wild.
And we had everything, because Alex Sanderson's such a great bloke. And Simon and Michelle Orange are in the club. They're such brilliant people. I like everything.
Wow.
And for Netflix, it was like, nah, it's not. We want big international rugby. I'm like, you've missed a trick.
And we want the fancy cars.
Jimmy
seeing the driving a Rolls Royce, or Smith going getting his G-Wagon. I'm like, that is not. We're not trying to be footballers. We're not footballers. So that's not why people go along. Again, they want the raw, everyday blokes. That's kind of what we are.
George Ford, suffered an 85-19 defeat on Sunday. With his Sale team against Saracens, and on Monday he had to go and open up his coffee shop in Manchester.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see what that mood's like when he's ordering in fresh coffee beans and he's in bits and the morale's low and he's got to do videos. Suffered probably a video session that morning before he's gone. I mean, that's what you want I think they missed out on what rugby's superpower is, with like generally kind of normal people doing extraordinary stuff, you know.
Yeah. And the supporter story, especially around the Six Nations. If they talked about the travel and support a little bit more, whatever about the inside, the kind of arena like we see, but just the crack that goes on.
Totally.
Do you know,
it's a shame.
Rugby's just so brilliant, and I love it. I'm just so grateful for it as well, you know. And you talk about the enthusiasm I have for it. It's been so good to me.
Yeah.
And when I've had times in my career where, like, you know, the BBC wouldn't go near me because I screwed up so badly at Olympics and stuff like that. The only thing that got me out of it was rugby, going to cover rugby and going to your DNA and just the passion I had for it. All my friends, you know, through rugby, my school friends through rugby, like everything, all the best things in life for me, a lot of them have come through rugby. Getting to know all you guys, like all these brilliant relationships we have outside of just watching rugby or talking about it on TV, the depth of it, the ripples from rugby. I guess any sport, I think, you know, GAA be the same. And it's just the ripples that extend from it are phenomenal. And I think, like, I even think back to, like, when I was like 6 or 7, and I remember my mum losing a baby, and Dad brought us to Mary's Rugby Club to tell us. And that's really poignant for me, that of all the places to tell his 2 kids where this awful thing had happened, he brought us to the rugby club because he knew his friends were there and the support was there, and that's where we were every Sunday. And I just think of all those things that rugby have done for people, you know, and done for me, and rescued my career because I was able to get confidence again in broadcasting through rugby with the BBC, ironically, and then it grew somewhere else, you know. Like, it's a phenomenal sport, and I don't think there are many sports. Like, we spend so much time slagging it off, worrying about Munster, slagging off, you know, Ireland out halves, but we forget. I remember doing the Leinster end of season dinner 2 years ago, and it wasn't a great end of season. And I said to them, lads, you only think about the trophies, but can I tell you now, the brilliant days I've had in the stadium with my buddies, having a load of pints watching you play, at home with my family, watching rugby on the telly, my mum in O'Dwyer's pub in Kilmacud going, you're watching the game, it's so good. Like, the ripples of joy these people on the pitch, these 23 players for Leinster, Munster, Connacht, Ulster, wherever it is, give us when they're playing is phenomenal. And I think sometimes we need to remember that.
You're right.
And just stop pointing and wagging the feckin' finger all the time.
Yeah, we're so quick to pass and point out all the flaws, and we miss the beauty of it. And you're right. You know what I mean? Like, the club is way more, isn't it, for so many people? We've just seen it this weekend with the AIL. You know, we're going into an AIL final, but over 6,000 between both those games.
Yeah, with only 4 Leinster teams, though. It's not good for the AIL.
No, I know, but they do deserve their time for it. Agree. I do think that's a great problem.
Like,
it is a worry, but like, you look at this Estonians, man. That's quite a story as well.
They're amazing,
But to Doyler's point, like, you go down the club, man. It doesn't matter if you're 6 or 7 years of age or you're 70. You know what I mean? Everyone has a part in the place. And
2 weeks ago, I went down to Stradbrook, down to Blackrock Rugby Club on the Saturday for the Blackrock Trinity game.
Right.
That got Trinity into the position to get into the playoffs. And my mates say, you know, Niall Woods,
Crow,
Niall and Crow and John English and all,
Crow,
Crow, and all the boys I was in school with, you know, all of them. Shane Burns doing the longest Q&A. I'm like, get on with it, you know. But we're in the club, and there was a good few hundred people in Stradbrook. It was like being back there in the day, you know. And we had a lunch. I think
great.
Skin full of pints, meeting old teachers of mine and old pals, and Richard Barrington from Saracens bizarrely was at the game. I don't know why. Yeah, and we watched this game. A load of pints. My wife picked me up from Libero's Chipper. full of battered sausages and chips at 8:30. How I got from Stradbrook to Liberos, we'll never know.
Great days.
But
great
home
days.
in bed by 9, 9:30, even better.
But you're right.
It's beautiful.
They're the beauty.
So
but
great though.
Yeah.
Oh, rugby, come on. How good is it?
I went to UCC. They were playing Corinthians. My nephew was playing in the game, but it was the only game on in Cork that weekend, and you had clusters from every club down watching it. So you'd the Well, you'd the kind of Dolphin, the Con heads, the Highfield heads, and then you'd like Praise, Christians, everyone looking in at this one main event. You know, I do think we're quick to look at all the professional side of it, but our grassroots is thriving,
it's
and
wonderful.
it's there for everyone to enjoy.
UCC, I obviously never got to play against either you guys because I was shite, but I did play against your brother.
No, Ulti.
Yeah.
Played
He was UCC.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Way back in the day.
Highfield. Yeah.
I played against him, and we were so bad that he started. He was number 8.
Yeah, I was.
Big dude.
Yeah, he was a big man.
And
big
he started taking the conversions.
Yeah.
And I remember at one stage we were getting nowhere, and we had a line out. About 15 out or something from their line, and it's like nothing's happening here. So I was playing scrum half that day. I chipped it over the line out and went through.
Nice.
And I got the ball. I went, and next thing,
Wiped out.
oh boom! Ulster O'Callaghan.
There's the prize on the 9.
Welcome. He loves getting his hands in a 9, this fella.
Honestly, that's the treat, isn't it?
Listen, we could talk all day to you, Craig. Honestly, it's a pleasure to have you with us as well, chatting. I do need, listen, I'm just finished Ireland Day, and I have to ask you this morning, like, you get to guest present that quite a bit as well. Like, your DNA is sport.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You love it. You can see how enthused you are to get to go to the golf and to the tennis and to the rugby. How do you find the variety then of talking about how to make the perfect pavlova and interviewing Rishi Sunak, who was like, you did so well with him. He was the UK Prime Minister at the time.
Didn't it?
Exactly. But like, what a challenge. What outside your comfort zone.
I love it as well. It's the variety, right, Tommy? We know we're doing the same. And you with Ireland's Fittest Families, like when you're in broadcasting, one of the joys of it is getting to do lots of different things, and test yourself in different ways. I was in this morning during all the chaos, right, when Phil left and Holly left, and I was there kind of helping them out, kind of covering. So I've seen people broken like by that, and behind the camera as well. I mean, it was really bad, and poor Holly, the stuff she went through was horrific. She was stalked by someone because she was horrific, and I just thought, you know what? I'm never taking this seriously, ever. I'm just going to have a laugh every time I go on. Okay. So if I'm there and someone goes, and we got someone doing a health and beauty section going, and here's an avocado I mix. It's really good to put in your hair, actually. So maybe
I've done
try
that
it at
one
home.
too. Yeah, that's
I get the
segment.
avocado bowl. It goes in my head because I'm like,
you're playing free.
I'm making my mum laugh today because I know she's watching, and I'm making her laugh today. I'm fairly chilled out with it. And someone like Rishi Sunak, he's tiny.
Yeah.
You put him in your pocket.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Stringer height.
But I really enjoyed that because I trained as a journalist in London. That's what my postgraduate was in journalism. And I worked as a journalist, as a reporter for the BBC, and as a producer in BBC News, and then sport in radio. So that's kind of in there. That stays in there. So a little bit of a scrap of the minds is quite good, although it's interesting when you ask a Prime Minister a question you're not meant to ask, and the chaos that goes behind from his advisors. It's brilliant.
But it was brilliant.
It's like a little.
I love it.
No, it's like a line break, chaos, scramble defence.
But you're so comfortable doing the rugby and stuff nowadays, where getting to do something like that.
Yeah.
I love, say, a politician, because it's totally outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that gives you the buzz. Like, that's where, like, when we all live for the buzz, don't we?
And I guess, Tommy, and I've seen you do it. You end up. You come at things from a different angle. I think when you do it, and what I love about you doing it is you take the place of the person on the sofa at home.
Yeah,
I always feel like you represent
yeah.
the viewers at home, and it's lovely. You ask
the really
the right things.
silly ones that make stupid statements all the time.
You know, they're
So
really
what does that
annoying
mean?
ones.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, and you talk about the chaos behind the scenes, everybody
Yes.
going, did he actually ask that? But
Well,
it is,
this
great.
morning we used to be, it's calmed down a little bit, but you'd go on there and you'd say something. Like, I remember we were doing a thing about chips or potatoes or something like that. And like, I was doing those news review things, and I said, listen, I don't want to upset anyone. I said, I know I'm Irish. And I said, but I actually don't like potatoes very much. And they all looked at me and I went, And that's a big stereotype. I've had enough. And I got up and I walked out for the crack.
Brilliant.
Within an hour in the Daily Mail, Doyle walks out of studio in a storm over racist stereotypes.
Oh, racist stereotypes.
That's not what happened.
Oh, that's it. Clickbait over there. You're in
right.
trouble.
Yeah.
Big
But I
time.
used to have it in Worcester. Anytime I opened, we all had our little dugouts. Anytime I opened it, a load of spuds would fall out. And it was just the constant. And then I was like, can I explain to you about the blight that led to the famine? And they were like, what? You're joking? It's not just the...
You just not just love potatoes, no. I used to get the caravan. That's it in Wales. It was just Tommy and his caravan.
Wow.
Literally, they actually had an Irish flag with "Can we all live in Tommy's caravan?" It was good crack, wasn't it?
I've stopped doing it now because I'm nervous about talkback and who's listening. But when you do a sound check before we go live, particularly if it was in Twickenham, and they go, right, Craig, can we just test your mic, please? And I go, sure, and I'd go, I recall a time there was Irish ways and Irish laws, villages of Irish blood, we are a river flowing. And I go, come on, everybody. And
sing with me.
They're like, all right, yeah, Craig's mic's good.
Mute the mic.
Mute the mic, yeah, you can get your own back.
Listen, good times.
Hank's had enough. Before we go, though,
on,
John,
Hanky,
could we
come up
get
to me.
you to call it? How do you see the Prem season going? Who do you see coming out on top? The race for 4 is interesting. 1 and 2 is pretty much done, but who wins out?
I think Bristol have a really good chance, but they need a lot to go their way. Saracens need to win all their games. The way they played on Sunday, they might do that. They play the teams above them.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting part
8
of the run,
pointers.
thank God. Rarely does a team who finishes 3rd or 4th in the league before they go into playoffs ever win. And I think it's going to be impossible to stop Bath this season. The brand of rugby they're playing, the depth of their squad, they're so good. They know what they're about. They know their DNA. Johan van Graan, JP, they just have the team absolutely purring. I don't know who beats them. Wow. I really don't.
Do you think they double? Do you think they could?
I think the double, yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
To Leinster as well? Right,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're so good. And you look at the players and, they're having such a good time. You look at like someone, Alfie Barbary, who's on the move at the end of the season, but he's still... You'd cut him in half, he'd bleed Bath, you know what I mean? So what they've created there is really special. And it's something that Bath missed for a long time. Beautiful stadium. You've both played there. Beautiful part of the country. A lot of money. But they never had the ticker. They never had the heart. And they've created something there that is more than just star players. There's an emotion and a love of winning and a love of defence and all these nasty things and clearing out rucks. And they've got a real physical side to them. Guys like Tom Dunn, really is the inspiration. You talk about Finn Russell, but those guys. And I just love seeing Ross Maloney coming on.
Unbelievable.
And just being so good. Like, what a brilliant rugby player Ross Maloney is. And he's
100%.
shining, doing that job that we talk about.
100%.
The nasty
Sad
stuff.
for me that he never got capped. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He's England qualified, you know that?
No way.
He's England qualified.
Oh, could you though? Could you?
Wasn't it?
A little summer tour, Ross. Come on, Ross.
Ross, no, fella, no way.
Craig, listen, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, and to Hank as well. Fair
Go on,
play,
Hank.
Come on, Hank. Come up and say goodbye to
Come
everyone.
on, get up there and say, behave
Come on,
yourself.
Hanky.
Come
He's
on,
tired.
Rory.
Come
Come on, bestie.
Come on, bestie. Yeah, we renamed
How are you,
it.
bestie? There we go.
Right,
Anything you
that's
wanna
it
say
for
to
another
people?
episode of The Offload. Thanks so much for joining us. You can see Craig again this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Good on you,
Cheers, guys.
Doyle.
It was
Thanks,
lovely.
boy.
Thank you.